Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video.
We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. We hope you enjoy it.
Morning shenanigans. I guess the game is hit the box at the end of the dining room.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the breakfast is ready. We got some coffee, of course, our coffee, cranberry bread. Hash browns, store-bought hash browns. Don't look at those. Quiche and what is this? Gravy, white gravy, put over top. And of course, there's a couple of steaks coming out because it's the weekend. Ooh, it's like a smoked steakhouse in here.
Steakhouse.
There's breakfast, ribeye steak, quiche with white gravy. Got to put the camera down because I'm ready to eat. Now that we're done with breakfast, time to get started on a project around here. So we're going to start getting things ready for this year's garden. We're not going to plant everything today. We're going to till, and then we might start putting in some peas or something. We'll see how far we get. Well, we're just getting started putting some peas in the garden here. We do like to put cardboard between our rows, so we're trying to incorporate that as we're making the rows. We find that it keeps the weeds down. Now, if you do this sort of method, I would suggest peeling off all the tape. We get a lot of things delivered throughout the year, and so it's easy to break down the boxes and peel off the tape as we're going. And then when we're ready to put them in the garden, they're all cleaned up and ready. So. Hey, what's this? I think we've got a cat in the box. As far as putting cardboard in between the rows in the garden, that's something that we've done for years. Never had a problem with it. I know there's some concerns that some people have about is that truly organic or not. And while it's important to us to be organic, and I'm really not sure what to say about that, there's a lot of organic people who do that. But then again, there's also those who have something against it. Something that we do for us personally, and that cardboard always breaks down and rots by the next year. So next spring, that'll all be gone. I know there are certain types of no-till gardening where people put down very thick layers of cardboard and then bring in dirt and compost from other places and put it on top. And that works too, but that cardboard does break down underneath there as well. It just takes longer because it's thicker and it's totally encased, where this is more exposed to the elements. So this will break down within a year. It'll be basically gone. There might be some fragments left, but as long as you peel that tape off, that's the main thing. So today we're just getting started with planting peas. That's all we're doing. We're not putting in the entire garden. Peas can handle cooler weather, but we should be past the time of heavy frost, and I don't think it'll be a problem. Walking past our grape trellises that we recently put together. We're gonna go check on our chickens, see how they're doing. Hey, chickie. How's it going there? Let's see, there's another one down there. We do have hawks in the woods behind us. Way back there in those trees, there's hawks making nests, and You know, there's different times we see them. But we've never had them actually attack our chickens. And part of that is because of the trees, I think. We have our chickens, they're free range, but there's a pasture for them. And I say pasture, it's forest, very sparsely treed, but, you know, the hawk could fly through here. But they simply choose not to. They tend to hunt things that are more in the field, in the open. And so that's our experience with it. I don't recall ever losing a chicken to a hawk. Now, raccoons and other things, different story. We've lost chickens to that. And maybe that's because of the woods as well. Yeah, anyway, our chickens, we do run them here they have some forested area as well as some grass area, and they can freely choose to go back and forth between those. Time to check on the chickies. They look like they're doing pretty well. And the chicks we're gonna keep in this little chicken barn. They'll stay in here until they're big enough to go out. But yeah, they're the replacements for these other chickens. These other chickens are several years old. They'll be out there with them soon enough. But yeah, for now, they're gonna be inside. The apple trees are beginning to bud. So this variety of apples that we have is called Pristine. Pristine apples were developed to be grown organically. That's why we planted them here. We have 3 Pristine apple trees, and those do very well. They're sweet enough for us. We like them. We think they're a pretty good apple. We also have 2 Liberty apple trees, and the Liberty we don't like as much. We like the Pristine much better, actually. We think they're a little bit sweeter, and they ripen up earlier than the Liberty does. And next up, we're checking on the pawpaw tree. There's a little bud right there. They're getting little buds on them. If you're not familiar with pawpaw trees, pawpaws are native to Ohio and of course surrounding states as well, you know, eastern United States. And a lot of people compare them to a banana or papaya, that sort of thing. And they're very similar. Anyway, these trees, we have 2 of them, and they're a few years old, 5, 6 years old, haven't produced any fruits yet. No, they might be older than that, actually. I guess I'm not sure off the top of my head. Grapevine, checking on that. I'm not seeing any buds as of yet. No buds on the grapevine. Oh, well, we know they'll come eventually. And finally, our blueberry bushes. Now those have a lot of buds on them there. That's one of the big ones. And we have several smaller ones, and they're covered with buds too. We used to grow a lot of raspberries and blackberries, and we like them, but what we don't like is all the seeds and dealing with the seeds. It seems like we could never really get them all out. And so we do like blueberries just as much, maybe even a little bit better. So we replaced all but a small section. We have a very small section of blackberries left, but the rest, we have a lot of blueberries. So if we add it all up, there's probably 50 or 60 feet of rows of blueberry plants. That's between 2 different rows. There's about 60 feet total in blueberries. Now there's one of our blackberry plants coming back. That's the main cane that we just leave, and it regrows off of that. Well, I'm doing a little farm tour. They're up here planting the peas already, so they got the rows made up and now they're putting peas in. So that was nice. I better put the camera down and see about helping out with that. I imagine a lot of people who watch these kind of videos know how to plant peas, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to show you what we do. So we just put the peas on top and just push them in roughly 1 inch deep, and every 3 inches right on down the row. We like to make little hills for our rows. We find that it's easier these little hills will flatten out as time goes on, as it rains and everything, etc. Certain seeds we just plant directly. I know there's people who say, you know, well, you have to soak your seeds before you plant them or they won't grow. Well, that's simply not true. We've never soaked seeds, and we just plant them and they just grow. So as long as your ground is moist, it's getting soaked when it's in the ground. So we don't really take that extra step, and we've never had a problem. Now, it doesn't hurt to do that, but I just feel that it's an extra step, at least in our area. The ground at this time of year is very wet. So just by planting them, they're going to soak while they're in the ground. I suppose one advantage that you have to soaking seeds and letting them start to germinate, you know, in the house or whatever, or in the shed or whatever it is you'll see which ones begin to split and germinate, and then those are the ones that you actually plant. Where this way you might have some that don't, and you don't know that until they come up. You know, some will come up and some won't, but we've never really had an issue with it. Like these seeds here, we're planting, you know, 2 to 3 inches apart, so we're actually going to have some to thin. So I'm not too worried about it. I think they're going to germinate just fine. They always have, and we've been doing this for about a little over 20 years. So since we're doing a little farm tour update anyways, might as well talk about the pond a little bit. So some people have asked how big this is. It's 13,000 gallons. It's roughly 6 feet deep in this end, and it tapers up over there to about 4 feet. We had put some fish in here. We put about 36 fish in here. I'm pretty sure it was 36. And they were little bass, crappie, and some fathead minnows and shiners. Anyway, we hardly saw any die off. I think we saw like maybe 6 or so since we've done this. And they've been in here for well over a month, month and a half, something like that. And we saw very few die off. However, we've been feeding them yet, but we usually saw them come to the surface to eat at feeding time, and now we're not seeing them. So I don't know, did something get them? Are they still in here? Did they die and we didn't see them? You know, I don't know what's going on. We did have a couple big rains, and that really flooded this thing. I'll try to give you some footage of that.
So as you can see here, our pond is pretty much all the way up as far as it's going to be. Completely flooded over here. Starting to go out our third overflow. Yeah, another about 13,000 gallons of water going on. Oh no, I can't even. No, too far.
Some of us got cleaned up real quick. We're gonna go for a little walk at a park, see what kind of things are popping up in the local area, you know, now that spring is here.
If there wasn't all this stuff here.
Hey, what is that?
A violet.
That's a violet. Are those edible?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. There we go. Yeah, the petals are edible.
Aren't these edible? Are these edible?
Yeah, that's edible too. I forget what it's called. Now, that's a little unusual to find in a forest. I forget what they're called. Some kind of lily. Do you children know? Are these edible?
I don't think so.
Are they?
I don't know.
You don't know? No, they're not. They're poisonous. What do you have here? Clover, violet, dandelion, and I forget what that's called.
But it's edible.
Those are edible. Yes, they are.
Look at this wild garlic.
Yeah, there is some wild garlic, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you want to be sure it's wild garlic. Break it off and smell it. Wild garlic. Smells like wild garlic. If it doesn't smell like garlic, it's not garlic. There are other plants that look similar that are not edible, and they don't smell like garlic. So what's it like with the garlic? It's kind of like identifying a duck, right? How's it go?
If it looks like a duck, if it acts like a duck, if it flies like a duck, if it swims like a duck, and chances are it is a duck.
And if not, it's not. Here's a plant that is in this area. This is an invasive weed, actually. It looks really nice. It has these nice yellow flowers and nice leaves. But the plant is invasive and it's toxic, so it's totally useless and it chokes out vegetation. As you can see, there's pretty much nothing else growing in it. It makes a great ground cover, but it's actually just choking out everything. I guess it's actually on the invasive species list in our state. It's not native here and it chokes out different things. There's a hole, probably a groundhog hole. There's running a groundhog. I don't know if I got that on camera. Groundhog just ran back into the woods. What do you got?
Moss.
What's moss good for?
I don't know. I guess if you're stranded out in the woods, you could use it like a bed.
It's supposed to be good to use for purifying water. If you had a wound, you could use moss on it, supposedly. It's antimicrobial and all them different things. Of course, it's nothing like real modern medicine, but it's better than nothing. Hey everybody, today we're going to be cooking up some ribs in the kitchen. Here we go. So what are we going to do? We're going to make up a what?
We're going to make a rub.
A rub.
A rub.
A rub.
That you rub on the meat.
Rub on the meat. All right, let's go.
So we got a half a cup of brown sugar.
Half a cup brown sugar. Now what makes it brown sugar? It's sugar that's just dyed brown.
Brown sugar is regular white sugar with molasses in it.
With molasses. Okay. I gotta know anything about that. Tastes good.
We're going to put in 2 teaspoons of paprika.
2 teaspoons.
Yeah, 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons. Actually, no, we're doubling it, so we need 4.
4. So you got enough brown sugar then?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
5.
That's 4.
4. 3. 2.
3 teaspoons of onion powder.
3 teaspoons.
1.
4.
2. 3.
1.
3 teaspoons of garlic powder. 3 teaspoons of salt. 2 teaspoons of pepper. And this recipe calls for 1, it would actually be half. It'd be 1 teaspoon because we're doubling it of cayenne pepper, but I can't handle cayenne pepper, so we're not putting it in.
No cayenne pepper. So you doubled everything that you told them.
Yeah. So now we're gonna mix it. No, you gotta put your hands in it.
I put my hands in there.
Yeah. Like
You wash your hands first?
Yes, I did.
You sure about that? I was watching. She washed her hands, you know. Of course she did. She's the one who's after me to wash my hands.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm usually after the kids to wash their hands.
Yeah, it's usually the children that have issues with that. Of course, we didn't tell you that. We didn't say that. We have a giant foil pan to contain the mess in. You can do this on your countertop. You just put the meat on there and just sprinkle the stuff. There's not a lot of meat on short ribs. It's a lot of fat. But the meat that there is super tender because of all that fat. So at this stage in the game, the trick is to get your wife busy doing this stuff while you go make a cup of tea or something like that, you know? Right? All right. I think I'm going to start throwing away the trash over here. You're going to shake it all over the top, sprinkle them, let it sit a little bit, flip them over, sprinkle the other side. Is that right?
Yeah.
Now we're not doing the flat, we're doing the side where you can see like a grain of the fat versus the meat. So we're sprinkling it on the side. If you laid them flat and wide, it would just be fat, and you're not going to eat that part. Or a lot of that fat might melt off. So you put them sideways, and you get it in the meat as well as on the fat. So now we flip them over, and we do the other side. This is how we do it.
This is how we do it. We're not sure if we're doing it right. It's just how we do it.
Yeah, everybody does it a little bit different. Do you want to add some stock?
1 cup of chicken stock and a half a cup of apple cider vinegar. I need to rinse my hands off.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't get the trash out of the sink.
Hey. All right. You got vinegar?
Right. A half a cup of apple cider vinegar.
Half a cup of vinegar. And how much chicken stock are you adding to it?
Chicken stock will be 1 cup.
So some people will take their meat and put together their stock and vinegar or whatever it is that they're using and wet the meat before they add the rub. And you just pour that down in here.
Yeah. I think the idea is
you're trying not to rinse off your rub from the meat.
I think the idea is that the vinegar helps break down the meat.
Next up, we're going to get these ribs in the oven. We're going to cook them inside. We were thinking about grilling them, but it's actually too cold for that. So we're going to cook them inside in the oven. What temperature are we cooking them on in the oven? 350 or so?
325.
325 until they hit 180. All right. There are the ribs. I did not record us putting them in or out of the oven. The ribs are now done. They've reached their internal temperature of 180, and it's been about 3 hours, and we're ready to eat them. I know I'm ready to eat them. I've been smelling them all afternoon. I am definitely ready to eat them. French fries.
I would just
Okay,
give them
home
a
fries,
red
whatever.
Let them pick at it.
And ribs. Ooh. All right, well, I got to put this camera down because I'm not missing out on that.
That's all we have for this week's video.
Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
Well, if you've enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We put out new videos every week, every Friday morning. And if you'd like to receive notifications when we do upload the next video, hit that notification bell. And check out our channel. We have several videos just like this one or very similar. We do various things including hiking, biking, boating, fishing, builds of various kinds, mostly outdoor activities. Some homesteading is thrown in there as well. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one.